All right, hello everybody, and welcome into the first edition in 2022 of Before the Sandstorm. I'm Kendall Smith, joined alongside of Wes Mitchell here on Gamecock Central. And before we start off, I think we have to address the obvious as to where we are, because this is by far, Wes, the coolest background we've ever had for Before the Sandstorm.
I think it's the only live background we've ever had, but Willie B right behind us. We are on Market on Main's. This is a party bus, I think, or
Market Party Express.
Party Cockaboose.
Yes.
By the way, great place to come hang out before the game, as you can see. This is the calm before the sandstorm. This is one of my favorite. I don't know, this is one of my favorite feelings to come out here. The people are not quite here yet, but you can see people getting ready for the game. It kind of reminds you how much effort goes into a game day at South Carolina. You see the workers behind us. I'm excited. I know the fans are excited. It feels great outside. It's very bright if people see us squinting.
We had our sunglasses.
Let's just acknowledge the.
So we have them. But it's like an anti-broadcasting rule. You're not supposed to wear sunglasses, so we're trying to keep it professional here.
So if I'm squinting the whole time, that's why. But just go with us. Bear with us. Kendall, are we excited? Are you ready? It's game day. We got here. Somehow we made it.
I am so ready. I'm so excited. I'm vlogging today, and I actually started off my vlog earlier this morning saying it feels so good to say it is Saturday in South Carolina. Finally Saturday in South Carolina on a game day. And I think everybody's just pumped up, Wes. Just the feeling that I'm getting based off of social media, the people I'm seeing around here. My house is actually very close to Williams-Brice Stadium. I can hear my neighbors already blasting music, and it's 10:15 in the morning and kickoff isn't until 7:30. So I think everything so far is off to a good start. It's a gorgeous day here in Columbia. So I'm excited. I know there's been a ton of hype around this team, more talk, more conversation on a national level for South Carolina than they've had in years. So I think it's good they're finally getting out there today, and we're going to get to see what they've been working on throughout the off season.
Yeah, by the way, you did not put me on the vlog yet, so
you're going to be on the vlog.
Okay, good.
So stay on the lookout for that, everybody.
The thing is, if you had put me on the vlog, I'd be complaining about being on there.
That's true.
Because you didn't. So Kendall, I was about to say the state of Columbia, the area of Columbia, South Carolina, on a game week is transformed. I feel like when you go out in public, you can't go to the grocery store without overhearing somebody talk about, hey, you going to the game? What are you doing for the game? Are you tailgating? I went to the gym this morning. Everybody was talking about the game. I was in the parking lot. Strangers talking, hey, you going to the game today? Like, this place on a game week, on a game day, it's just different. And it's a great feeling. It's exciting. And as we talk about this game, let me just say, I am very excited to soon be done talking about this game as far as a preview of it.
Right.
And to have some new information, to have some new data, and to then be able to be like, all right, what did we learn about this team tonight that we didn't know? Because I feel like from a media standpoint, from a fan standpoint, this game, this team, the preseason stuff has been broken down every single direction you possibly can. Tonight, we're going to actually get to see some new football. We're going to find out, hey, are those things we expected from this team? Were they real? Were we off on this? Were we right on this? And that's what I'm most excited about, is just to actually see it play out in front of our eyes tonight.
Well, I think you get a baseline, right? Because you can talk about it as much as you want during practice, during the spring game, but it's not the same as playing a legitimate college football game, and that's what we're going to see tonight. So we can talk all we want to about Spencer Rattler and the offense and the strides that they've made in the offseason, and you can hear Marcus Satterfield talk about it in press conferences, but until you see that actually on the field, it's hard to make assumptions as to where South Carolina truly is. So this is setting the baseline. It's kind of the benchmark to see where they're starting off the season and where they'll go from here. But a question I have for you, Wes, is in tonight's game, who do you think is going to score the first touchdown for South Carolina? And everybody watching, comment as well. Let me know, who do you think is going to be that person for South Carolina tonight?
Yeah, so I was asked this earlier this week, and I'm going to stick with the same person just to keep things level. And I said Antoine Wells Jr.
Okay.
So my specific prediction, I think, was a play-action pass, kind of down near the goal line, maybe 15, 17, 18 yards, play-action pass Spencer Rattler to Antoine Wells Jr. back of the end zone. That was my prediction. Jaheim Bell, I think, probably has a pretty good shot at it too. Marshawn Lloyd would be another guy. A sleeper I thought about would be like maybe Stogner or, even Xavier Legette. I think he's a guy people aren't talking about as much, but is going to be a good red zone threat for Carolina this season because he's tall. He can go up, high point the football. But to give you your answer, I'm sticking Antoine Wells Jr. First game as a Gamecock, first touchdown of the year.
I'm going Marshawn Lloyd for me.
Good pick. I like that.
So, I mean, I feel like those are both pretty safe picks. I see some people in the comments saying Juju, Jaheim Bell, Rattler, Tavan. Luckily for South Carolina this year, it seems like a lot more depth on the offensive side of the ball. So you have a lot more options in terms of
That's
what
a great thing.
Yes, it's a great thing if you're South Carolina. So you have a lot more options in terms of who that person could possibly be. But Wes, I want to kind of get into Georgia State just for a second here. We've talked about it all week long. And if you haven't checked out Gamecock Central, be sure to do so because we have literally broken down every possible way this game could go. We've broken down Georgia State as much as we possibly can. But for those just tuning in on game day, give a little scouting report of who Georgia State is as a team.
Yeah, so the thing that stands out to me about them is you look at Sean Elliott. This is a guy who played defensive line during his playing career and was an offensive line coach. And I think if you look at how this roster is built, it kind of plays off of those two things, the lines of scrimmage. Like the second he took over this program, you can tell there was an emphasis on building the defensive line and building the offensive line. And he's really, now that he's been there several years, he's been able to like solidify that, build some depth. They return a bunch of guys on their O-line. They return a bunch of guys on their D-line. You can look periodically, like the last 3 seasons, they have broken their own school records for like tackles for loss and sacks. And then like the next year, they will break it again. So they have consistently been better on the defensive front than they have been probably at any time in school history. So I look at tonight, this Georgia State team, they're going to try to run the football and they're going to try to create negative plays on defense. So that's going to be their game plan on both sides of the ball. I don't know necessarily if they're like a dynamic passing team. Like they're going to spread the ball around, keep it simple, throw the ball on the edges, short passes. They kind of struggled to hit the deep balls last year.
Right.
I'm sure that's something they've worked on. So maybe they've improved. Maybe that's an area they're looking at it today saying, well, maybe we didn't do this last year. We can do it this year. But I think for the most part, they're gonna run these running backs. They got 2 or 3 guys they're really, really excited about, I think. They have a quarterback who can run the football. They're going to take the air out. They're going to try to get this crowd to like start to kind of settle in, murmur, complain. Carolina, on the other hand, is going to want, maybe you hit a big play early. Maybe you keep the crowd in this game and kind of ride this wave of momentum. Georgia State, if they're having success on the ground, I don't think they're going to overthink it, Kendall. I think they will just continue to kind of ride that out, shorten the game. They want for this to be like a 21-17 type game.
Right.
I don't know if they can outscore South Carolina. It seems kind of weird to say that, but I think Carolina's got enough new playmakers combined with their returning playmakers. I think they can go score some points. If it gets up into the 30s, I don't think that's the game Georgia State wants.
Well, I think it's interesting you mentioned the run game because that's something that South Carolina did struggle with last year. And we talk about those improvements that South Carolina wants to make for this season. Wes, in your opinion, for South Carolina fans to feel good about tonight, besides obviously South Carolina actually winning the game, what areas do they need to see some real improvement from South Carolina on when they face Georgia State tonight?
Yeah, I think run defense, but for me, I'm looking at like the specifics. So you'll take stops as far as this game in particular, any way you can get them, right? But as far as what does it tell us about moving forward for the Arkansas game, for the Georgia game, for the big picture, I think it matters how you get the stops. So let's say, for example, you get a stop on defense, but it's because Georgia State has a drop pass. It's because they have a bad throw. Even turnovers are great, but they don't always tell you the full picture. For me, from a South Carolina perspective, I think fans want to see Georgia State run the football on first down, second down, third down, and not get the 10 yards needed for a first down. That seems simple, but all stops are not created equal. So I think if they are consistently stopping the run, there were too many times last year where South Carolina would find itself on defense facing a 2nd and 3 because there was a 6 or 7 yard run on first down. That consistently you're not going to be able to get stops like that. So
Mhm.
you want to see it 2nd and 9. If you see a bunch of 2nd and 9s, 2nd and 8s for Georgia State's offense, and then 3rd and 6s and 3rd and 7s, that's going to be a great sign, in my opinion, that there's been a lot of improvement. Like Georgia State will get their yardage. Like they're going to run the football to an extent, but you just don't want to see them consistently gashing you. So early on, I will even say like first quarter and a half, we may already have a little feel for if there have been improvements. And that's kind of why I like this game, Kendall. You're not playing an opponent that you just can't learn anything about your team while playing them.
Cupcake opponent.
Yes, like you're not playing Eastern Illinois. We're going to learn some things tonight that will be beneficial as far as our knowledge of this team moving forward. And the coaches, I believe, will have it. It will be beneficial to them as well, because it will be, all right, we feel good about this, or it's going to be like, we got to go back to the drawing board on this.
Well, Darren Granger, the quarterback for Georgia State, only threw 4 interceptions last year on 228 attempts. He came in kind of in the middle of the season for Georgia State, ended up getting that starting spot, and then from there had a really good season. So South Carolina last year, very good in the turnover game, in the turnover battle, but it's going to be difficult against a Georgia State team if Darren Granger comes in like he did last year, only 4 interceptions on 228 attempts. So certainly not an easy opponent, as you mentioned, Wes. Someone that I think, people need to be on the lookout for a little bit. This game could be a bit closer than people anticipate. I know I had the score, I think, at 34-13. I think it will be a little bit closer maybe for that first half, and then I see South Carolina kind of breaking away. But again, that's why you play the game. You never know how it's going to turn out. So what was your score prediction, Wes?
I went 37-20. I think we all, for the most part, GC staff, had similar scores.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of shifted a little bit higher or lower. I said 37-20. I kind of feel like with an entire offseason to get the game plan ready for this offense for South Carolina, I think they're going to – it kind of reminds me like the bowl game. They had some extra time to prepare. Right. They executed the best they did all year long. Something stood out when Satterfield said on Wednesday, we really tried to focus on what we were going to do on game day for the last couple of weeks of practice. So it wasn't just like, hey, let's run the plays that we have in this offense. Let's run the specific plays we're going to be calling in this game. I think that probably creates an opportunity there to be a little bit more efficient, to execute a little bit better. I don't know. I think South Carolina can score some points today. That's why I shifted it a little bit higher. And, we'll see if they can force Georgia State to have to throw the football when they don't want to. I think with Granger, the fact he didn't turn the football over kind of to me means, yes, he probably made a lot of good decisions, but also he probably didn't have to force the ball into coverage a lot. He probably wasn't facing situations where they felt like they had to throw it. They just want to stick to their game plan. If you're South Carolina, there's 2 ways to do it. If South Carolina's just scoring enough points on offense and sort of racking up yardage to start, that forces them out of their plan. Or the other side, again, like we talked about, if you're forcing 2nd and 9s and 3rd and 7s, that's when you're forcing Granger to have to throw the football as well. So I think that will be a key early on. Like the game flow, I call it, will determine if this is just like a party for Gamecock fans and they're just kind of sitting back enjoying a great day at Willie B, or if it's one of those nerve-wracking games where even if you have a lead, you're just never quite completely comfortable.
Right. Well, everybody watching, let us know if you have any questions before we get out of here. Tell us what you're doing on game day. What's you're most excited for about tonight's game? We want to hear from you. That's why we're going live now, because
I want to hear about their spread too, like their tailgating spread.
Yes, tell us about your tailgate spreads. Yeah, we need to know where all the tailgates are so we can come out beforehand, see what everybody's up to. Because Wes and I will both be out today. I'm working, and then Wes will be at the game. So
yes, I will be. I'm always working though. Like I'm gonna be. I'm working the crowd. I'm gonna be. Yeah. You might see me out here. I might come steal some chicken wings from you.
He's only charging like $20 per autograph and picture. So just be on the lookout for the local celebrity, Wes Mitchell. But Wes, I think that today, the energy, as we mentioned, is just different with Gamecock Nation, and you've got a lot of new faces on this roster. So besides Spencer Rattler,
we've had to say besides Spencer Rattler.
we always have to give that like little pre-statement. Besides Spencer Rattler, who are you most looking forward to seeing today that is a new face, whether it's a freshman or a transfer for South Carolina?
Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 answers. I'm gonna give you my first one that doesn't actually answer the question while I stall to think of the real answer. But a guy that's not a newcomer or a transfer or a freshman, but is about to take a huge step as far as his role on the team is Mo Kaba. And
Yes.
he's a starter now. He played as a reserve last year, but even then, I felt like he didn't rotate into the game a ton last year. Look out for number 32. He's made huge strides.
Mm-hmm.
The great thing, like we were talking about earlier about actually seeing it on the field, I feel very confident that he has improved a ton as a player. The question now becomes like, what are the realistic expectations? Does that mean solid SEC starter? Does that mean possibly all SEC? Does that mean like best, one of the best players on this defense? Like, we don't know that until you play opponents. So that I'm excited. I'm excited for Mo. Seems to be a great dude. Has worked extremely hard to get where he is. Came back from an injury that he suffered in high school, and so I'm excited for fans to see 32. And personally, I'm interested to see just how good he is as a player now that he's getting his opportunity. Newcomers, I already went Antoine Wells. I'll tell you what, I think the guy that has been a little bit lost in the shuffle has been Stogner.
Yes.
And when South Carolina got the big commitments from Rattler and Stogner, Rattler got the attention, and then we talk about Jaheim Bell at tight end, rightfully so. But I think Stogner is going to be that consistent. It's not 8 catches for 142 yards, but I think at the end of a lot of games this year, we're going to be like, man, Stogner made a big play when they needed it. Like, I think he could be a guy that's going to be 4 catches for 63 yards here. 7 catches for 70 yards this day. Maybe this day it's just 2 catches. But I think, for one, he's known Spencer Rattler forever. They have chemistry together. And I don't know if you can't overvalue how important it could be to have that tight end that when everything else is covered, he kind of just gets lost and catches, an 8-yard pass on 3rd and 9 or an 8-yard pass on 3rd and 7 for the first down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A valuable tight end can be huge for your offense. And Stogner's a big guy, catches the football out away from his body, can go up and get it. I think he's going to have some big 3rd down catches and some big red zone catches.
I think those are 2 great answers. I'm personally excited to see the development of Juju McDowell this year. He's always been somebody that I've just been intrigued by as a player. I think he's so fun to watch. He's such a spark plug for the team. So true freshman last year, coming into this year with a little bit more experience under his belt, and I think that's a great thing for him. He already made an impact as a freshman. So this year, I think he'll have some more opportunities as well, especially maybe in today's game because Christian Beal-Smith is questionable. We don't have any updates on whether or not he will be playing, but you said yesterday, and I think it's so true, that if a running back is questionable heading into a game against a team like Georgia State, and again, we know Georgia State is legit, they're real, this could be a close game down to the wire, but I don't think you really want to risk that when you've got Arkansas and Georgia coming up in your next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I feel like there's no reason to.
Right.
Like you have Juju, who I think is a great pick, Kendall, because he kind of is a forgotten guy as well, but every time he's on the field, good things tend to happen. Very easy to pull for as well. Just a dynamic person when you kind of look at how he thinks about not football but life. And I think when you talk to him in your interview, isn't he a writer as well? Like writes poetry and stuff.
Yes, he does poetry. He likes to draw. He's very artistic. Like he's just a very intellectual person.
Yes,
very interesting to talk to.
Awesome kid. So Juju's going to have his role. I think Jaheim Bell, literally at running back, is something we're going to see quite a bit of this year as well. So. Yeah, you don't have to force him back at all. So, yeah, Juju's a great pick. I think Jaheim Bell, seeing that's another thing. How are they going to use him this year? How are they going to use him tonight? We're going to learn a lot about this team tonight, and I'm excited. And also, what we haven't mentioned at all, Kendall, is recruiting. Like,
yeah. We are big recruiting people, especially Wes, because he's the recruiting insider at Gamecock.
You are too, Kendall. Don't pretend.
I'm not on the same level.
You were into recruiting.
I'm into recruiting.
You follow. Some media people do not follow recruiting.
I love recruiting. I think it's so
your stuff.
I'm so excited about today because it's going to be massive, and Shane Beamer's talked about it for weeks. So many of South Carolina's big-time opponents when it comes to recruiting, whether that's Tennessee, UNC, Clemson, none of those schools play at home today. So this is an opportunity for South Carolina to showcase Williams-Brice Stadium at night with the new LED lights, with the new speakers, with the fans, with Spencer Rattler making his first appearance in Columbia. So I think for recruiting, it's massive. You have any specific names that you know of that may be out today in Columbia?
Yeah, so you can go to Gamecock Central. We have a complete list of expected visitors on there for subscribers, which, by the way, you can get it now for $10 for an entire year. Special promotion
Amazing
going
deal.
on. Go check it out. But Kendall, the guy that just caught my attention would be Mazio Bennett from Greenville, class of 2024, 4-star kid, wide receiver. It seems like every time South Carolina has an event, a camp, a game day, obviously today, he's been on campus. And, going into Greenville and landing a guy who is very highly recruited is not an easy thing. I think South Carolina's in a great spot there. He's going to be up here, from what I understand, with his entire family. And, we'll see what direction his recruitment goes. But I think they've situated themselves in a great spot with him. They offered him extremely early. I think that went a long way. They have made him a huge priority. There are a bunch of other. It's really kind of turned into a big day for the 2024s. Like that.
Right.
That's the juniors who have just started their high school seasons as juniors. And so there's a bunch of names on there maybe Gamecock fans aren't quite as familiar with yet. But if you go look at that list, maybe, you want to start to familiarize yourself with them because, these are the guys that are going to be big recruits a year from now. But you already have to sort of start to get them on your campus. For the most part, I mean, Kendall, 2023, there's 20 commits on this list.
It's pretty filled out.
It's starting, there's like these final targets. I think a couple of weeks from now, we're going to be talking about a huge list for Georgia, even though it's a noon game.
Right.
I kind of wondered if that would affect the list. There's already guys locking in, like kids I've reached out to this week saying, hey, are you going to be at the Georgia State game? They're like, nah, but I'm going to be at the Georgia game.
Yes. So same here.
That list, be ready. It's going to be a good list today. Don't get me wrong. But that Georgia game, it almost feels like the guys are like, all right, I'm going to find a way to get there, even though it's a noon kickoff. So that'll be interesting to see how that list grows. And what was kind of, I guess, interesting as well? The Georgia game, Georgia and Oregon in Atlanta, they are able to host recruits for that game. So there have been, I think that's a rule that is fairly new. For neutral sites, you used to not be able to host recruits. From what I've seen online, they are hosting prospects for that. So something to keep an eye on there. There's a few guys. Cam Pringle, in-state kid, class of 2024, big-time target for Carolina. He's going to be there as a Georgia target for that game. South Carolina, I'm sure they will push to get him in for this South Carolina-Georgia game in a couple of weeks.
Well, we'll have all of the recruiting information over on GamecockCentral.com. On Mondays, Wes and I will do the recruiting rundown every single week that South Carolina plays at home. So that way you can know who is here, kind of some of the feedback that they gave on South Carolina. So be on the lookout for that on Monday as well. But Wes, I think that might round out Before the Sandstorm. Any final thoughts before we head out?
Final thoughts. I could go really, really long with this, Kendall. I could go many directions with this. We're going to go big picture. We're going to go we're going to go deep with this answer, Kendall. Okay.
Just center yourselves, everybody.
Yes. Woosah.
Wes is about to get deep.
We're about to preach. Okay.
We're preaching.
First of all, go watch my How to Watch the Game if you're worried about being able to stream the game. This is a personal.
He's so passionate about this.
This has been a personal battle for me this week to make sure everybody that's a Gamecock fan is able to watch the game at home without paying for ESPN Plus. Anyway, woosah. Guys, girls, enjoy the game. Enjoy tailgating with your friends and family. Take a moment if there's a 3 and out. Think about, center yourself. Listen to the birds chirping at Williams-Brice Stadium. You only get so many of these. So enjoy your time at Williams-Brice Stadium. Enjoy your time watching the game on TV. Because we talk about this all year long. And then the second something goes wrong, we get pissed and it's all out the window. Yeah, so let's enjoy it together.
Every team has their moments.
Yeah.
Even Georgia has their moments. The reigning national champions. We're finding Zen Wes. I'm actually a yoga teacher, so I think that I've helped Wes to zen himself, even though he won't come to any of my classes. But
y'all need to zen yourselves, though.
Yeah,
and enjoy them LED lights. That's the other thing.
Enjoy that. We will be videoing that, so anyone who's not coming, I will have you hooked up on that so you can check it out yourself. But yeah, big inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. I agree with you, Wes. For me personally, this is my last first game as a student at the University of South Carolina. If you don't know, I'm a senior at South Carolina. So yeah, it's the last time, and a couple of the games have been kind of messed up because of COVID. So I'm really trying to enjoy this as well. I'm going to be working, but what you said, it's so true for so many people, no matter how old you are, no matter how long you've been coming to games. If it's your first game, just take it all in. To be able to say that you are spending a Saturday at Williams-Brice Stadium, or spending a Saturday at home or at a restaurant, going out to eat to watch the game, that's awesome. And I think that's something that, we take for granted. So just be grateful for this day, be grateful for the opportunity to watch South Carolina play, and be grateful that football is back. Before the Sandstorm is back. Wes and I are going to be here every single week giving you a pregame show, and hopefully throughout the weeks. We think we're even going to be adding some more stuff to it, maybe switching some more locations. Great location today.
I already got some locations in mind.
Yeah.
But if you're a Columbia business owner and you want us to swing by, maybe you know what we need? Breakfast. So if anybody wants to hook us up with some brunch, holler at me. Before the Sandstorm is going on the road, we're going to come by.
Yeah, we need like an early breakfast for the Georgia game, because that'll be early before the Sandstorm.
Yes.
Wes's article about where to find the game, how to watch it for free, that's on GamecockCentral.com. He also made a video about it. That's on the Gamecock Central YouTube. So he is very invested. Check it out.
How insane is that?
You're already on the YouTube or the Facebook, and that article is on there already. So check it out on there. I think that's it, Wes.
We need to get off here.
Head to GamecockCentral.com. I'm going to be blowing up Gamecock Central all day, as is Colin Taylor, as is Michael Sauls, with all of the coverage that you could possibly need. Wes, it's been fun. I'm so glad we're back for Before the Sandstorm. Shout out to the Market Party Express Market on Main for having us up here at their cockaboose. If you want to book an event here, definitely do it. They've got an upstairs, they've got a downstairs, so head to marketonmain.com. Also, thank you to Clint Hammond of the Mortgage Network for being a presenting sponsor for us. So grateful for you and all that you do for Gamecock Central. Again, I'm Kendall Smith. He's Wes Mitchell. This has been Before the Sandstorm. Happy game day, and be safe, everybody. We'll see you soon.